morning. About the commitment and the creative mornings, I really think that this is one really good example of commitment, because I am really a big fan of this early morning format. I have been, I think, in 10 of them out of 12 or something like this. But I like the idea that every time I see a lot of new faces here, as well as some recurring visitors. And I don't know how do you get the new people here all the time, but somehow it magically happens. As I worked here in Telliskivi for 4.5 years, then I have seen here quite a different crowd than in Telliskivi usually, which is actually a really good thing, because it's an example of additional value that this event has to Lift 99 or Telliskivi, and that it's all like one mix. So it's really cool that you're still doing it. I probably will be here also next month. It depends on topic. But I have to be honest, I haven't been so nervous before the presentation for a long time now. Because usually when I give speech or have to present something, it's usually part of some kind of bigger event, or it's just 5 minutes in some meeting or whatever it is. But the fact that people actually come here because of me in the early morning, it's scary. Because I don't want to make you feel disappointed after you're leaving here. So, commitment, yes. A couple of months ago, my friend Jorma was speaking here about courage, and it was really great speech. And this is the biggest value in this format, is that actually the topics are kind of philosophical. You can present them in very practical way, but at the same time, you need to focus before the presentation, think through all the details, and probably digest all the ideas first, and then come out with a kind of concept. What are you going to tell to those people who actually are probably not morning people, but they fake it and come here? So, commitment. I will talk about my experiences on how to commit on different projects at the same time, what kind of elements I need in one project or one activity that make me feel committed and make me feel focused. I will talk a little bit about what happens when the things are not going as you planned, and then maybe some other things as well. And you are more than welcome to ask questions when I am finished, and let's see what's going on then. So, a little bit about me. I would like to tell you that I practice this thing, professional polygamy. This is thing that I have practiced already since 2003 or 4 or something like this, when I first went to my first real job, because most of the time I usually have done something extra in addition to my daily job. And at the moment, luckily or unluckily, I don't have a daily job. I have many of them, mainly projects. Some of them are volunteer projects, some of them are paid projects, or how do you call it, professional projects. I was nearly 4.5 years content manager of Telliskivi Creative City, the whole area here. And before that, I have been in marketing and PR positions in different companies, like the biggest job portal in Baltics, CV Online, and also Elion, which was which is Telia nowadays, and so on, so on. And now I'm doing different things. The main thing I'm focusing at the moment is actually running World Cleanup Day in Estonia, which is hard and interesting and very cool thing to do, and at the same time very important thing to do, but I will talk about it later. And then I'm a bit connected to Opinion Festival as well. The people who are not from Estonia, this is 1 weekend in central Estonia where there are 2 days full of discussions in every kind of topics that are important in Estonian everyday life or in Estonian future or so on, so on. So this is basically people come together to speak, to discuss, and to get new ideas. So I'm kind of volunteering there as well, helping them to set up the discussion spaces like to prepare them. And then I'm organizing a couple of festivals like Tallinn Street Food Festival, which is originally Telliskivi's festival, and it still is. And so it's next weekend, advertising pause. Next weekend, 9th and 10th of June, it's Tallinn Street Food Festival, and 1 week later it's Tartu Street Food Festival. So, professional polygamy, it is. That leads to this one. Sometimes you feel up and sometimes you feel down. That's because you have too many things to do and you understand that you have committed to too many different things. And in that case, you need to take a break or digest the situation and think how to move on. And that it's kind of juggling, actually. So you have to be good at every project you are doing. So I will focus on the main ideas. What do I believe is important to stay committed or to actually be attracted of something and then commit to something that you are doing. So I really suck at drawing graphs. So thank God Keynote has option to add some squares. So this is my only graph here today. About commitment, that I do believe that there are like 4 main elements to commit. First of all, you need to have a cause or the driver. Why are you doing it? Is it some higher goal, some personal goal, both of them, but you need to have some real driver. Then it's a sense of duty, that you actually wake up in the morning and do the stuff that you're supposed to do even if you don't like it. I know that I have some very not fun things to do today after the presentation, but I try to manage it. It's a sense of duty. That's the part of staying committed, is doing also the not fun stuff. Then the emotional part, like you need to have the emotional connection with the thing you're doing. And then, of course, people, all the other nice people with whom are you doing the things you need to do. I think it's a change or the synergy of different people and the change of energy that you actually need to keep going. And then if you put it all together, then probably it's a good recipe for staying committed for one important thing you are doing. So basically, being really committed or doing things passionately is actually going extra mile or doing a little bit extra than you're supposed to do to be successful, to execute things well. That's what I believe. It may lead to tiredness sometimes or empty feeling that, okay, why the hell I am doing it? But generally, you need to take this extra mile, because if you don't do, then you are just doing stuff, but not doing them well or not executing them in the best possible way. And the second thing I really believe is actually, I try to make a word that's suitable for startup space. It's adventurify the stuff you do. So you should probably... I do believe that you should find the positivity and the adventure in every bigger thing you are doing. And if you don't find it in the first hand, and you are in the on the edge that whether to do the stuff or not to do, then probably this one piece of adventural stuff that you find there may lead to the right mood and helps you to commit on the thing you are planning to do. So, let me see. So first of all, for commitment, I think you need right drivers or the goals that you are planning to reach. I try to exemplify my thoughts with some examples on my previous or current projects. Maybe it helps to understand the idea better. First of all, the best possible thing is if you have a really big goal that you need to reach. For example, this World Cleanup Day in Estonia. This is a really big piece of cake for me because, not piece of cake, but this is a really big thing to do for me because it's limited time, very limited budget, and a lot of things to do in summertime when people usually want to rest and not want to commit on new tasks. So, but if you have this one big goal that the World Cleanup Day is actually on 15th of September, it takes place in 130 plus countries all around the world. I think most of your home countries are taking part, or if not, then that's a pity, they should. But yeah, in Estonia, it's extremely important because Estonia is usually like a home country of countrywide cleanups. And the head office and the main action of the global cleanup is actually taking place here in Tallinn on 15th of September. So we expect to have a lot of international attention as well. And if, for example, foreign journalists coming here and also people in Estonia are walking or driving around, they see actually what's going on in Estonia. So if the cleanup in Estonia is not successful or nobody's going to clean up or they leave the trash somewhere they shouldn't, then all the critics actually will be focused on Estonian cleanup. So that's big responsibility, and but at the same time it's a big goal. And it drives me to do that because if you're a reasonable person, you probably don't take this challenge because, as I said, limited budget, limited time, all the other stuff. It's not a comfortable task to do, but that's what I'm thinking about. That we need to be good at it in order to show the world that it's actually possible, and to make Estonian people proud that something so big started in Estonia and it's still going strong here. So, but at the same time, in addition to bigger goal, you could have also at the same time personal goal. It can't be totally different from the totally opposite of the bigger goal, but it can be a bit different. For example, for me, this cleanup is also, I guess, the biggest. I call it myself as also a small startup or MBA course in real life, which means that this is the biggest management project I have ever done in my life, probably, and this is a challenge for me. If I succeed, then I probably am a much better team leader in the future when I go to my daily job one day again, maybe. Then the second big thing I think is important when we are talking about committing and the drivers is actually the perspective of development. I do believe that there are actually two kinds of people. One kind of people, my kind of people, I guess, is actually the people who need to see that there is a perspective of development, or the project or thing you are doing, you are on a point A and you need to reach the point B. And then people which are as good people as the first group are the people who are actually more attracted into holding the things on the situation that they are at the moment. So people who like rather stable kind of life and who are really good at doing things better piece by piece, holding all the balls in the air when juggling and so on. But for me, actually, the good driver is when I have actually point 0 and I have to reach to point 100, and then the journey from 0 to 100 is that what attracts me and keeps me going. For example, probably one of my most favorite projects in my daily job life in recent years is actually when I work for Elion, which is a Telia nowadays, a big telecommunication company, in 2007 or 8, I think. They bought software which enabled you start sending email newsletters or something like this. They hadn't done it before. There was no system for that. And for that time, I had been 3 years communication and media relations manager in Elion. And I was looking for a new adventure or a new challenge, and they said that, okay, Raimo, we have this software here. Don't actually know what to do with it, but we should do this email marketing thing. What do you think? Would you like to start this system? I was like, okay, why not? But I haven't done that kind of project before. Yeah, that's okay. Nobody has done it. So just start doing it. Then it was the big challenge for me because I'm like, I'm in my background is social science and rather humanitarian stuff than the business and IT development, something like that. All this project was all about business management and IT projects and project management. It was a really big challenge for me. But I saw that there was nothing, and then 1 year later there was a system. It was working. We had all the rules. We had all the system, and even like 4 or 5 years later, when I had left already Elion, I still heard that they were using the manuals that I had written 4 years ago. I was like, wow, really? So this is actually a good thing that if you have this challenge. Then the second thing, in order to stay committed or to be focused on something, you need people who are around you. It's really, really difficult to do things alone. It is possible, and I'm sure that people actually can do a lot of by themselves, but it's much easier, much more fun, and much more creative to do it with other people. So I have like a couple of things I would like to mention. First of all, in order to connect with some kind of project or activity that actually later makes you committed and lights your fire, you need to have those fire starters, the people who actually come here with, okay, Raimo, I have this project for you. And I have actually one example from 2014. My good friend actually was talking to me during the party that, Raimo, we should start Startup Bus. This is basically a hackathon on wheels, which started in Tallinn and led to Vienna on that year. And actually 8 or 9 different buses started in different countries from Europe. And I was like, okay, I have never been to hackathon before, and it sounds a bit uncomfortable, but why? Yeah, but it's so much fun. And actually he had won this competition 1 year before. And he really started a fire inside me. He has tried it with some other projects later as well. Then I didn't set the fire later anymore. But this first project, the Startup Bus, we actually did it together, and it was successful, and it was really cool. But I would have never done it by myself or thought that, okay, I should start Startup Bus. Even I have heard it before. But then there is this one person who is a fire starter, says that, Raimo, you should do that. We should do it together. It's fun. It's interesting. It's a challenge. So on, so on, so on. And then when you think through and understand that, yeah, it is actually, then this fire starter is someone you actually need. So if you meet some fire starters, then first of all, be a little bit, let's say, think through first, and then when the fire is really worth of it, then keep going. Then I like some crazy kind of person in the team, which means that it's probably this fire starter or some idealistic person who says that we actually can change the world, even if we don't. You just need to have them in the team. And in the World Cleanup Day team, there are plenty of them. Sometimes I feel even too many of them. But generally, you need to have them, because when there is a low point, they are the ones who says, but Yes, but you know, somehow we figure it out because we have this higher goal and we can do it. So if you are putting up, setting up the team which has a big goal, you need to have some at least half idealistic person there who says that yes, okay, we can do it. We don't have money, we don't have time, we don't have anything, but yeah, we can do it because the goal is big and somehow we figure it out. They help you in not so good days. And then of course the people you are working with, you need to trust them. The trustworthiness is, I think, one of the keywords. You stay committed if you see that others are doing it or are committed and they are focused and they are happy to do that. And probably the best team I've ever had is actually the team with whom I'm organizing the festivals in Telliskivi, or even the Tallinn Street Food Festival with the I have done Telliskivi Flea Market Festival with this team, and they're really professionals in their own field. I have a very good producer. Actually, I have already 3 different very good producers throughout the years, but they're really focused. They know how to do the stuff. Like, she's a really master of Excel management of projects. He has everything in one big Excel, and you actually understand it, which is kind of hard to believe, but it is actually so. And then there is a team member who can do all the marketing and volunteering stuff, and then there's a guy who actually knows how the electricity works and all the stuff all together. It's just a perfect team, and I know that I can trust them. They can have also sometimes too many things to do, or they could have low points as well, but in the end of the day, you know that this is the team you can actually trust. And that's why I believe that it's part of commitment is also that you find the people with whom you could work, actually. So the people. And then the journey. So if you have the goal, personal goals and the higher goals, and you have team and the people, the fire starter and the idealist, and then there's trustworthy people and some other people who are in the team, maybe still looking for their position and so on. So, and then I would like to tell you the stories of the journey. The journey means that when you start going, and you have the better and the worst days during the journey. First of all, the practical stuff. Actually, to stay committed, you need to have the tools and the knowledge. It's really annoying if you don't have right tools to do that stuff. And it's kind of scary because you don't feel comfortable or you don't have knowledge. For example, I'm also organizing a big street market in Tartu on this Saturday with the people in Tartu in the Aparaaditehas or widget factory. They're really cool people and they're really good. But at the same time, I don't feel very comfortable in Tartu because I don't know how much different is all the situation there. The people there, the business the ideas of how to do the business, or the idea how to set up the stuff. So we are talking to each other day by day and organizing the stuff and so on. But at the same time, I still feel a bit uncomfortable because I don't have a control of this, the whole package. In Telliskivi, I have it. I know every piece of this area, and I know how the people react here, what drives them, what not. But in Tartu, I feel a bit comfortable, and I'm working on that topic to make it more comfortable. But it may happen that if you don't have right tools, or you don't know actually what to do, or you feel some nervousness, then it makes a bit uncomfortable. It makes you a bit uncomfortable for a second at least. So try to figure it out and try to get the right tools. I know that in many projects, like even bad Wi-Fi may harm your day sometimes. So then planning, project management. If you are the one who is in charge, then try to find the time to focus on setting up the plans, because this is something that helps you and your team keep going. and it helps to commit on right things. I'm not very, very good at writing the project plans, or I kind of I'm used to have this flexible percentage of the project, the flexibility in the projects. But there are some people who need more framed setup of the work. Then I would like to talk about setbacks and fuck-ups, which may happen sometimes. They actually happen anyway. And then the people and also the goal may help you at the same time to get over it. But I think first thing you need to do is to digest like what happened actually, why it happened, and then start all over again or keep going. Like I can give you one example. I have volunteered for World Cleanup Day, or Let's Do It World, it was called before, for many years now. But once we did a campaign. We started recruiting country leaders, or trying to find the leaders for every country. And we thought that the best possible idea would be just doing it by email marketing and peer-to-peer, like somebody suggesting someone that he or she could be the best one to run the cleanup in, I don't know, Burundi, for example. And then this is a sad project because this campaign setup took about 20 months for me. In usual private company or in business, I would have been fired already 3 or 4 times during this period. But as it was a volunteer project and all the details all were changing constantly, then it was bearable actually. But the problem was that the idea what to do and how to do actually changed throughout this process. The need, what kind of people actually should be the leaders, changed throughout the project. Then we started setting up the designs and text, and then first, second, and third version weren't good enough, and we had to change it. And months went, and then there was a vacation time, and then all the project actually changed, and so on, so on. So when in the end we started this project, or actually started the campaign, then can't say it was too successful. I think we found maybe 2 or 3 leaders through this campaign. And but it took 20 months, so it's not reasonable. But at the same time, we didn't give up, because we understood that we need to have someone. And actually, although this campaign really sucked, the leader of the network understood what to do instead of this campaign to find the people. And after that, it actually started quite well in other channels, not email marketing, which doesn't make sense in the end. If you think about, you need to have like a big cleanup leader and you send him email, hey, would you like to clean up your country and be a manager? Huh? It's like, doesn't make sense actually. Okay, it wasn't, well, the text wasn't like this, but anyway, the point was the same. So, setbacks, fuck-ups, they do happen. Good people around you actually help to digest it and actually help you to get over it as well, because sometimes it really worries you or makes you sad or feel uncomfortable, and then those people actually, especially this idealistic person who actually comes and gives you a hug and said, no worries, actually we still can do it. This is actually a good feeling, so you need them. And one thing I really do believe in terms of this journey is actually small wins. You need to have small wins constantly to stay committed, to be happy. I like small wins. It can be a really, really small thing, but you need to have constant wins. For example, for this cleanup, like in last week, I think I have had really low points and high points. Like for example, we finally got probably our first funding. And it was this is actually not a small win, it's a big win. But actually we got it. And then, for example, we got some good feedback from local authorities all around Estonia that they are helping us. So this is also a small win, and you need to have those small wins. You have to communicate with all the team members so that everybody feels that actually things are going quite well, because before the last week, I had 1 month with all the time, like basically running with your head on the wall and said, okay, this is not working. Okay, this is also not working, what to do now? But now when I have the small wins, then everybody feel more excited. So you need to have small wins and share the wins with others. And then the fourth part is the execution, or the real stuff, when you have planned everything and you have the team and you have made your fuck-ups and you have actually got over it and so on, so on. So this is the final destination. You have to put all the pieces together. The puzzle will be done then, and this is actually the payday for you, or you feel well when it's done, or when you actually see that things are now going well. I can also give you the examples of food festival. Usually the food festival preparation logic is that we start around 4 months in advance, when we actually agree that what will be the main topics and how many food vendors we will have and what will be the main setup of the area and so on. And then piece by piece start building it. And then this execution phase is actually good. This is something that I will reach next Friday. Saturday and Sunday is the festival, and next Friday, when actually those temporary toilets come to the ground, and then the fences, and then the technical manager is already angry because he actually got some kind of bad cable which is not working. But you understand that now it's time. Now it's really time that every piece is here, and we start putting it together. And then, for example, one very important part of it is when I have the volunteer meeting before the festival, so that we have this training and we get together and get to know each other, who are going to help us. And then the festival itself starts, and the food trucks start coming in. They are early morning. It's early morning, usually 8 in the morning. They are angry because they want to have their place, but they need to stay on the line because other food vendors already are here before them, and they are even more angry. And then they come to their place, and some of them say that, I don't want this place. I think I'm around the corner and nobody's coming here. And actually later, already in the early afternoon, he has sold out everything because he's thought that he's around the corner, but he's actually not. He's in the center of the festival. But all those pieces are on that moment, you are like running around and walking with your walkie-talkie with your team, and you don't feel actually quite well. But at the same time, somewhere somebody is telling you that now this is actually this magical moment when everything comes together. You have all those puzzle pieces, and now you're putting them all together. And when it's around Saturday afternoon, when everything is going well and it's sunny weather, and actually somebody came to eat here in the festival, then you feel this now it's a moment that I can actually just feel the vibe and understand that now you have done or doing it something right, and people are coming and they're happy, and your team is not talking to you in the walkie-talkie anymore so much because all the crises are over and so on. So this is the magical moment that you need to figure it out, and you understand that the execution phase is actually on the right direction. So this is actually payday. Even if it's really, really busy day, you understand that this is the day you feel that, okay, now I've done something with your team. Now this is a boost for self-confidence as well, and this is also the moment when you have to share the joy with your team. I think we don't, maybe it's not, classically there are a lot of people who are not from Estonia, so we can talk about this Estonian thing that we don't usually say good things to others. It's like, if everything goes well, then you say, it was okay. But actually in our team, we praise quite a lot each other, which is probably not so common, but it actually helps. And as I told you before, this festival's team is actually my dream team so far. and then we tell each other good things as well. So this is actually one part. And this execution phase may actually come to you long after you did the thing. Just 2 or 3 days ago, Telliski Creative City announced publicly that they are now plastic straw free, and all the restaurants in Telliskivi never ever sell out food in single-use plastic tableware anymore, only the biodegradable and so on. This is something we have trying to make those festivals environment friendly in the first hand. I have done it like four times. Every year we made the rules a bit stricter, and every year the food vendors were a little bit like, I don't know, it's not a good thing. But at the same time now they are used to it. And now when they set up the permanent rule for that, then I felt like I have got dividends from some kind of company, like emotionally a few days ago when I read that, wow, actually it was worth all the struggle we had in 4 years. And it's really a good example for other events and for other companies as well. Just a quick side note about this environment friendly thing. As I told you before, I'm organizing the street market in Tartu now. And one of my team members actually got a really angry phone call a couple of days ago that in all our festivals there is this deposit cup system, which means that if you buy a drink, you give out the extra 2 or 3 euros, you get a cup, and if you bring cup back, you get your money back, and everybody's happy, and you have never bought one single-use plastic stuff. But one lady in Tartu called us and said that, what the hell is this? It's crazy. What do you think? Hey, you guys there in Tallinn, you can do whatever you want, but in southern Estonia, things are totally different. So we have a lot of things to do. But I think the thing here in Tallinn that we did and still doing and doing also in Tartu Street Food Festival, where actually the food vendors are okay with it, then it's changing those environmental things piece by piece. And those things actually make you happy if you understand that it actually have a wider or the more deeper meaning. And then, so execution phase is putting all the pieces together with your team, understanding when it's the moment when you actually have done everything right. And then also sharing the joy with others, and also keeping your eye on details on that phase, because keeping your eye on details is the deepest form of commitment. And then celebration. This is also important. It's a ground for next projects and next commitments. You need to celebrate if everything went well. You actually need to celebrate even if it didn't go so well. It's just then mixed with some analysis, probably some realistic feedback. But you need to celebrate the fact that you actually gave whatever you were able to give at that moment. So celebration, share the love with your team, show gratitude, and if somebody tells good words for you, it's also typical for Estonian that if somebody tells you that, wow, you're really doing a good festival, I'm like, oh yeah, that's nothing, yeah, just, okay, I don't feel good. If you say so many kind words to me, it's, we could actually, we should learn it more and more. Maybe you, all our international friends can help us with that. So actually, if you actually did well, and somebody tells you that you did well, it's okay to feel well. A few words in the end. Letting go. Sometimes you just need to let go some things. It's just important to understand when it's the right moment. I'm really not good at it. I've done some projects in 10 years already constantly because they are really like in my heart. Although maybe in time-wise, I should actually give up of them. But I think the main thing is if you don't have any good driver or bigger goal, or you don't have right people to do this stuff, then probably this is the place where you could let go or give up. You should, first of all, try to find them, but if you don't find them, just do the stuff which you are not motivated to do at all. I don't think it's a good idea. Then if it doesn't give you or your company any additional value anymore. I can tell you one example. I was working for one of the web development and online marketing companies as a consultant. And the moment I understood that I need to let go this job, which I actually loved because there was a really nice team and a good salary, etc., was that when they came to me and said, oh, this one portal which was actually publishing TV schedules. Like, okay, it's not normal anymore, but in 5 or 6 years ago, that was the portal which actually, it was all about TV schedules, like what shows on what time. They need to have a new advertising strategy. What do you think? Would you like to do that? I was like, okay. I can do that, but why? They need to earn more money. Yes, but it's a TV schedule website. I understand they work, like their income is based on the money, but they get from the advertising, but it's not motivating for me at all. And then I understood that, okay, now it's time to leave the consultancy business. So it's okay to give up and be tired sometimes. And if you don't feel that those small wins that I talked before, if those small wins don't give you any good feeling anymore or don't give it at all, then it's also maybe the time to leave. And yeah, in the end, all in all, the best recipe for commitment is interrupt the status quo. If you are not happy with the thing you are doing at the moment, then probably you could do something else as well. My recipe, which is probably not actually good for all the people who have kids because they have other priorities in the first hand, and it's logical and it's okay and kind of jealous of them. But if you are in that phase where you could have many different things at a time, they actually work for each other. It gives you freshness, it makes you alive, one project that you are doing can actually add value to another, and so on, so on. So if it's possible and you are kind of tired or not committed in your main job or main project anymore, do some small thing extra. It may be even one weekend. Volunteering is the best solution on my case, so I recommend to do that. Try to get new implications from new people. Maybe somebody interrupts you with some crazy idea or find a new angle for the things you are doing. And then the self-management as well. Maybe the problem is that you are not good at in your time and attention management. Think that I'm not good at all. Sometimes that I have too many things to do at the same time, and maybe I don't actually have too many things to do at the time. Maybe I'm not just prioritizing the stuff right. So self-management. And then the advertising pause in the end, commit with me. World Cleanup Day Estonia is looking for volunteers. IT, marketing, communication, fundraising, logistics, regional coordination. So if you feel that you would like to do something with my team, then let us know. Questions?
Thank you.
Yes?
Thank you, yes. Well, raise your hands who have already prepared. I see one. You have time to think.
Thank you for the very nice talk. I have a question about decision-making inside the startup. For instance, if you decide what you will doing, what logo will you use, or so on, is it possible to decide it like democracy, or is it necessary to have a veto right from the person who is really team leader? And how did it work in your startups or your?
No, I don't have any startups, but basically kind of projects. Well, I believe that decisions that are important need to be argued with the team. But sometimes when you understand that it may take too much time or attention and it's not worth it, then team leader has to have a courage to make the decision, even the wrong decision, I guess so. That's my thought about it. But as much as possible, at least, for example, when I talk about food festivals, right? In this team, I try to talk through the main things, the big things with the team, and more detailed things with the person who is actually responsible for that thing. So, for example, when the decision is connected to marketing, I talk to my marketing person. When it's connected to technical, I would talk to my technical person, and we together decide. You don't have to have all the team committed to all the tasks. It's not reasonable. Everybody is expert on his or her field. So I try not to do decisions so that I don't talk to others. I try to argue with them, but sometimes you need to make a quick decision.
Sorry, I was posting. Any more questions?
Attention management.
Thank you. I wanted to ask about this. You had this nice commitment graph.
Oh, so my first graph, yeah.
To kind of appreciate that you have gone through the trouble of making a graph. So you had emotions there, and then you had sense of duty. And what I feel with volunteering is that they very often conflict. In a big project like this World Cleanup Day, it probably evens up. You have to do some things that are not emotionally rewarding and some that are. But if you volunteer, for example, for a short-term volunteering, so there is this super fun event where you want to volunteer, be the center of the bus, and then you are given a very important, very boring job in a windowless office or something like that. So have you had such conflicts, and how you deal with them?
Okay, I can be honest here. You are all like my people here. So next week when the food festival comes, there is one new volunteer job that we ever had before, which may be in that conflict. It's not boring at all, but it's kind of not maybe too comfortable, because first time in the history of Estonian festivals, we will have those, we call them clean environment specialists on the field, which means that we will have volunteers next to some of those trash points and help people to sort the stuff in the right trash bins if they are not able to. Well, it means that they don't take all the stuff and put it together, but when there is a guy who trying to put the bottle and the hamburger on the same trash bin, then this specialist actually kindly helps her that maybe you should put the burger on the bio waste and then the bottle on the Tara. Let's see how it goes. I'm much more clever. I have a much deeper understanding on that like in 1.5 weeks. This is one example that we really, of course, try to motivate those volunteers that it is actually something you are doing very special. You should be excited. But, you know, I am not so sure. Of course, we already see that not too many volunteers have actually applied for that position so far. But it's over 0. So we have already at least half of the number of people we want. But my experience is that, especially when we are talking about World Cleanup, it's a longer term, like longer time, and keeping those volunteers motivated for a longer period is really a struggle. It may be a struggle. I have had ups and downs in my 6 years in Let's Do It World as well. And that's, I see also in World Cleanup Day global team and in other teams as well. They have lost many of those volunteers. Some of them have come back now and then they go again. But it's normal. You just need to have a good system to actually keep contact with them. I know that there are some of those festivals or organizations who actually are really good at it. For example, Jazzcar, they really keep their volunteers. They have special events even in summer or totally off season in terms of jazz music in Estonia, but they have it they come together, they have their events together just to keep those valuable volunteers. And with volunteers also, there are those maybe less than 10 people in Estonia who are actually good volunteer managers, who have a long experience in that. So one of the keys is to hire one of them, or at least ask suggestions for them. They're really like everybody knows, everybody who's organizing events knows who are those 5 to 10 people who could you invite to have as a volunteer manager or manager, the person who is dealing with persons. So yeah, they may have some hints, but long term is difficult, and then you need to present those small wins, as I told you before. I do believe that small wins are important.
Thank you. I also actually had the same question in my head, because volunteering is kind of like doubtful thing. Especially, I have like actually one question. What do you think about volunteering or the testing, how it's called, like testing months for a company when you're not paid? Because for me it's understandable. I mean, volunteering, for example, for the cleaning things, but when it comes to the business.
You mean they call it internship?
Yes, yeah.
I have one intern in my team this year. She's in the food festival team. She's studying tourism management or something like this, and her focus is on destination marketing or something like this. And the project that he's working is Tallinn Street Food Festival this year, does the internship there. But we actually, of course, thought that, wow, this is extra pair of hands, which means that we actually asked her to join our team to run all the deposit cup preparation system. It means communicating with food vendors how many cups they need and so on. But this is extra, and I do, of course, understand that it, although I could probably tell her that, no, it's part of her internship and you just do it as it is, then we try to find a way to pay her for that, because it's something that we need extra, and even those couple of €100 probably may be a big motivation for her. So I'm not so sure about free internships. I think both parties are more happy than when the intern is more motivated and actually the company can afford those small extra costs.
Yes, I also think so.
It doesn't have to be like I don't know, €3,000
yes,
or something like this, but something.
But
yeah.
But something. It's true, because it's basically like, as I see, especially in big cities, for example, it's happening very lots of, because they have like the huge market and there are lots of motivated people and they're like kind of using this.
It depends also employment market situation. At the moment in Estonia you can't do that because we're in need of good people. I think in crisis, like when there's, I was working for CV Online in 2008 when the big crash came in job market, and then like all the, not all, but many employers were like, okay, come and show what you can do, and then we probably pay you something, because they were those few companies who actually hired at that moment, they were really big bosses. Like, okay, we choose among 500 candidates. We even don't send them the answer that they didn't get the job. We just don't care because we're in the job market situation where I can decide, and the people who are searching for a job, they need to make super extra moves to get the job. So it depends on the job market as well. But generally, free internship is very so-so.
Thank you. We have more? Okay. We have, actually, if you need to leave, this is fine, because it's already 10.
I just wanted to make a comment that the free workload is called passion pay in Korea. So, I mean, we would call it exploitation, but it's called passion pay. And I actually had a question as well. You talked about small wins, but how do you differentiate between a low point and actually needing to give up on a project or knowing it's not worth it anymore?
I'm not so good at it, I guess. Jälle, I think you can. You usually understand it later. You understand it when this right decision-making point is over. Sadly, quite often it's that way. So I think when there's a low point, you should think about those. Are there any drivers left? Are there people left who could help you? And do you have resources and tools for the work? And if there are only no's, then probably it's time to give up. And of course, you need to think about the context. Like if you give up and then, I don't know, thousands and thousands of people are really harmed of that, then you should double check this decision. But if it mainly affects you and plus some people whose business probably it is, then I think it's time to go or time to leave. But if it's a big project, then of course you should take one more chance, or you should try at least once. Like if there is this idea that you should have every person should have a second chance if they make a mistake, then it's also the situation where you should think about it whether you should try it once more. And if still no, or you see that there is no point to try again, then probably it's time to give up. And also, sometimes somebody from outside, some other person may be this right person to tell you that now it's time to give up. It may be your boss. It's a sad story. But it may be also some person from somewhere who knows you and says that, okay, see it on the other angle. What if, and then, so talk to people.
So then we'll be finishing. Raimo, we have a small present for you. It's connected with your work, and it's map of Kalama, made by our friends. And yes, to remind you about Telliskivi.
This is Efone, right?
Yeah, I think. Is it Efone? No? Yeah, it's like a sticker poster, but you can use it as poster as well.
Thank you.
So thank you.